So I went to a fishing show last week. When I'm at these fishing shows, I like to look for products that somebody has taken and they've made it better somehow. In other words, I don't like just doing hacks. I like to look at other people's hacks. I found some pretty cool hacked products. You'll see. You'll see. Oh, and while I was at the show, I recruited me some help. So take it away.
Hack number 1.
So while I was at CatCon in Kentucky, I ran into another YouTuber named Chris Souders. He actually owns Slender Cat Outdoors. And since I was doing a video of different products, you know, new to fishing, I noticed that his new floats were pretty dang cool. They're made out of EVA foam, and that's cool, but that's not what's new. He actually has a rattle in it, so it's got its own built-in fish attractor. I did do a video about a company that uses a rattle called Dragon Masters. They also had rattles in their pegs. Their floats were made out of a low-density EVA foam. So if a fish bites it, it kind of mashes down flat. These are high-density EVA foam, so they're not made to be bit. But I have heard that the high-density EVA foam is more buoyant, and we're gonna find out if it is more buoyant. I also like the pegs on these floats. They got little ridges that holds them into place good, and the BBs are actually in the pegs. Listen, hear how you can't really hear them, but the hole in this thing's really big. Chris said this was called the echo chamber, which makes the rattle louder. So I got one peg stick in this float. You can hear it a lot better. Without the float, can't really hear it. Kind of interesting. Plus, I've been wanting to try out EVA floats because if you've used regular floats, then you know about this. This is from catching one fish. He bit down on my float, tore half the paint off. And if you use regular floats, they don't last forever because those catfish would tear them things up. They actually say the EVA foam is really tough and it lasts a whole lot longer, but is it as buoyant as a regular peg float? That's my question. Is it as buoyant? I really don't know. By the way, I've done tests like this before. I have a whole video on peg floats. It's kind of interesting. So I've got a peg float here of equal size. I mean, this one's a little bit fatter, but it's more hollow on the inside. And the peg float's actually a little bit longer. They're pretty equal in size. I got a piece of lead. I'll cut on my scales, see how much it weighs. It weighs 3/4 of an ounce. I'm gonna tape this lead to the peg float. I'm gonna drop it in some water and see if it'll float it. No, it don't really float it. I mean, it wants to, but it's actually touching the sides of the jar and stopping. All right, so I got the weight strapped to the EVA float. We're gonna see if it'll float it. And it does. It floats 3/4 of an ounce of lead. By the way, I really don't care how much weight these can float. That's not what I'm checking. I'm only seeing if the EVA float will float as much weight as a peg float. If you are interested in how much these will float, go watch that video I told you about because I did tests on them. So obviously the EVA float floats more than a peg float. And just by putting tape on this thing, look how much damage it did. I mean, these things ain't that tough, but the tape didn't hurt the EVA float at all. That's kind of cool. And if you're interested in some of these, I don't have a link or anything to save you money, but you can go on Slender Cat Outdoors over to Chris's page, and he sells them on there. And he also sells pre-tied rigs. Just saying.
Fishing hack number 2.
Now this is something really cool that I found at CatCon. I didn't know about these until CatCon, and if you've used these, you already know these are release clips. We use release clips on pointer boards. I even had a hack video where I used release clips to get your bait deeper when you're striper fishing, but on something like that, you don't want it to release. You want it to hold on tight. And there's actually a lot of pointer boards on the market. I've even got at least 3 videos about how to make DIY pointer boards, and I found that the critical thing on pointer boards is your release clip. Well, I don't use any other release clip besides Scotty's, because if you use pointer boards, you know that Scotty clips, they release. Like, they'll hold on, but when you catch a fish, they will release. I've actually lost fish because my pointer board clip would not let go before, and that's aggravating. Todd's on his second fish for the day. He reeling in a pointer board. That ain't no fish.
Feel anything?
Ain't nothing in it.
God dang it. Came off. It's all your fault, David.
Then you got you guys on the opposite end of the spectrum that don't want their planer boards to release easy because they fish in big wakes and stuff, and their planer boards are getting hit by waves. I don't have that problem because we fish in reservoirs. I've always been a diehard Scotty fan, but these new clips are totally different. Now, what's really awesome about these clips, I'm mashing with all my might and I can barely get it open. That just tells you this is not going to release easy. Look at my finger. I mashed hard. This clip is not going to release easy. That is not the kind of clip I want. But the cool thing about this clip is instead of changing over to a Scotty, I can change the clip. You see the spring in the side? You can take a screwdriver and slide that spring over, and now it opens easy. You see what I mean? I mean, is that not freaking cool? Just so you know, there are other release clips that have adjustable springs in them. So it's not a new invention, but Jamie has changed the spring to make it way more adjustable. Way more adjustable. You know what I'm saying? He is very innovative. He's actually the owner of Alpha Boards. But yeah, if you want an adjustable release clip, go on Alpha Boards and get you some. And actually, I do have a discount code for Alpha Boards that'll save you some money. So I'll put it in the description box.
Fishing hack number 3.
Speaking of Alpha Boards, I think this is one of the most innovative products I've seen at the show. And if you've seen the video where I went up and checked out the new fishing rods and got to talk to him at Catch the Fever a few weeks back.
He said I couldn't see the top secret project.
Yes, you can. You got full clearance. We're just going to cut your finger, take a little blood, put it on a document.
Then you already know I wanted some, and I barely got some because I think he about sold all of them. You can check that video out, but I'll show you the clip of him explaining what the new Alpha Boards are. So that's it. That's your new Alpha Board.
This is the new Alpha Board. So arm still folds from one side to the other. But now, with his locking mechanism, if you ever have trouble with the arms folding prematurely, you've got that option to lock it into place.
That's pretty dang cool.
And then we have our own lights.
So is that a glow stick?
This is an LED light with a rechargeable battery.
That's awesome. That's pretty dang cool right there.
So for people who do their night fishing, there we go.
I like it. Is this one mine?
That one's yours.
So why did you make an arm that locks? What's that important?
Well, we found that like in the Great Lakes and some places where they're pulling really, really heavy weights, if you get a slack line between the rod and the board and it's tight behind the board, the arm would fold in prematurely. But we didn't want to take that option away for the people like pulling on the Santee, they're pulling some dragon weights, not a lot of heavy weight. They still like that ability for the arm to fold in when they're reeling in the board, so now you're not fighting the board. But for those people who need that arm to stay in place, we've got the fix here.
So you're going to keep both options?
Right, well this is, you get that option.
Oh.
Right, just
right.
don't lock
just
it into
don't
place.
Lock it. Okay.
Just don't lock it into place.
That's cool.
Because it's still got the same indent that holds it there, but now you can lock it if you need that option.
These are honestly my favorite planer board. If you hadn't used planer boards, I've got videos on how to use planer boards on my channel. You need to go check them out. Because if you're dragging weights and you're not using planer boards, then you're not being very efficient. And these planer boards are made from duck decoy. It's a high density foam. Plus they store easy. Now it's got a light on them. I mean, it's a win-win. So go over and check out Alpha Board. Like I said, I do have a discount for this one. I don't make anything off of the link. I really don't. I just have that link so that y'all save money when y'all buy something. So go check them out.
Fishing hack number 4.
I also ran across this while I was at CatCon. It's called Crab Slap. It's called Crap Slap Mags. It says it's the best freaking fake maggot. And that's exactly what it is. It's fake maggots. If you look at them, you wonder why they ain't moving because they look real. See the wood dust in it? Well, the wood dust is saturated with real maggot oil or something like that. I don't remember. But these things do definitely look real. They also feel real. They smell real too. They stink like a dang maggot. But these would be great for crappie fishing or bluegill fishing or any kind of panfish, I imagine. But they're pretty cool. Crap slap maggots. Best fake freaking maggot. I'm just saying.
Fishing
This really caught my attention. It's catfish candy and shrimp flavored. It says on the back, candy tubes are pre-drilled for easy hooking. They can be used as is or cut in half. Let's see what they look like. They look kind of like cotton tubes to me, but they're soaked in a fish attractant. And the purpose for these things is to leave a scent trail off of your hook. Now you could use these by themselves, or you could hook this onto your hook before you put your bait on to leave a scent trail while you're fishing. And man, if you could just smell this stuff. It smells like some kind of fish oil with garlic in it, but I guess it's got shrimp in it too. It says it does. But I found this really interesting, and I'm actually curious to use it just to see if it works.
Fishing hack number 6.
Now this next hack product has to be my favorite from this year. I mean, it's got to be the coolest idea I've seen. This is freeze-dried chicken livers, and they come in mesh bags, so when they rehydrate, they won't fall off your hook. I mean, when I seen this idea, I was like, why the heck didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that? God. I mean, I dehydrate stuff all the time, but who would ever thought about dehydrating chicken livers? Well, they're freeze-dried, but freeze-drying is actually better than dehydrating. It's the same thing. And when you dehydrate something, you're taking all the moisture out. Then when you add water to it, it goes back to the way it was. So I want to take these chicken livers and I want to test one and I want to see if it works. By the way, before we test it, it says on the back, indefinite shelf life, never goes bad. Made of freeze-dried chicken livers. Works like fresh without the mess. Conveniently stores anywhere. Hooks easy and stays on. No refrigeration required. That's just friggin' awesome. Okay, so I got this thing on the hook. If you smell this thing like, woo, oh yeah, it's chicken livers. You can smell it. That gum stinks. But we're gonna drop it in this water. I wanna see if it rehydrates. Right now it's so dry it's floating, but it should sink once it soaks up some water. I'm gonna give it a few minutes. Okay, so it's been a few minutes, and as you can see, this chicken liver is staying on the bottom now by itself. As you can see, it's soft now. And when I squeezed it, some chicken liver juice come out. So this stuff actually does work. Make your hands stink too. But I gotta say, this is actually a really, really cool idea. I really do wish I would have thought of that. Dadgummit.
Fishing hack number 7.
And I also found this. Just like the chicken livers, this same company makes freeze-dried shrimp sacks. So they put a piece of shrimp in a bag and freeze-dry it. And of course, it says the same things. Don't need refrigeration, never goes bad, you know. But seriously, I like good, innovative ideas. And this is just a good, innovative idea. And I wish I'd have thought of it.
Hey, speaking of shrimp, why did the shrimp cross the road?
I don't know.
To get to the other tide. What do you call a shrimp that's always getting hurt?
I don't know.
Accident prone. Get it? Accident prone. What do you call a shrimp that's really, really popular?
Huh?
A celebrity.
That's enough. That's enough of that. Let's get on with the video.
Okay, you don't have to be so selfish. Selfish. I kill myself.
But if you're interested in any of the last 4 baits, the shrimp, the chicken livers, the catfish candy, remember catfish candy, or the fake maggots, scratch that, the best freaking fake maggots. You can go on this website and they have all kind of cool ideas. I mean, they actually have a lot of them. And I'm not affiliated with them, but you can go to www.castaway.com and you can order any of this stuff. And I'm not affiliated with them. I don't make anything whether you buy it or not. But I still think it's a pretty freaking cool idea.
Fishing hack number 8.
Now, at CatCon, we had a booth, and we was meeting people, talking to people, especially the kids. I love meeting the kids, obviously. But the guys right next to us had anchors they were selling, and I figured I'd show it to you. And I never seen an anchor designed quite like this one. I really thought it was interesting, so I got me one. Those tines on that thing looks like it would hold really good. It's called Gorilla Grip anchors. And I'll just let the guy that makes them tell you about them. So what's your name?
Zach Mathena from Gorilla Recreation.
Okay, so Zach here is telling me about his new anchor.
We're based out of St. Louis, Missouri. We fish the Mississippi River. My father, he needed a river anchor for his boat. Told me to make an anchor for him, so I went ahead and designed this, the Gorilla Grip anchor. It only weighs about 15 pounds. We got the breakaway design for ease of retrieval, just in case you get snagged. We recommend about a 50 to 75 pound test zip tie for all of our anchors. So this is our 25 pounder. This is for bigger boats, your larger boats, above 30 feet. Our 15 pound anchor is good for up to about 32 foot. We got the reinforced gussets for our flukes for maximum longevity and durability. These flukes will not bend in towards the shaft or bend out. We also have the 2 points per flukes, allowing it to get that more strong digging power, that holding power that most boats need.
Okay, so there you have it. Eight awesome fishing hacks that somebody else hacked. But you gotta admit, some of those are cool. Some of those are definitely cool. Hey, if you like this video, you're probably gonna like this video. So why don't you go over there and check it out? I'm serious. Go check it out because this video is over.